Welcome to Just John and April, the relationship podcast, your place for life, love, and laughs. In today's episode, it's our anniversary and the word of the day. Happy anniversary, babe.
Happy anniversary.
How do you feel?
Dear.
How do you feel?
Great.
Not quite 20, 19 years. Yeah.
19 wonderful years.
It have been 19 wonderful years, that is true. It's been good. We've enjoyed ourselves thoroughly. You know, we were remembering this because this past weekend we were away. We were in Atlanta and we did a wedding vow renewal for a couple who originally got married on the same day of our wedding. Not the same exact day. It wasn't 19 years ago. It was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
In 2014,
But
they
December
got married.
17th.
December 17th. So we should say happy anniversary as well to Scott and Neela.
Happy anniversary, guys.
Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. And anyway, their vow renewal was on the 15th on Sunday, and we had a really good time with them.
We did. It
and
was
just
so good
remembering
seeing
everything.
everybody.
It was. It was really, really nice.
It was.
And now we're back home, safe and sound. Took a flight. It took us forever to get back, but here we are. And today is our anniversary, December 17th. Got married on the 17th in 2000, the only day that it snowed that year.
It did. It snowed
that?
on that morning.
Yeah.
And
that's
I
crazy.
remember looking out of the window and I started crying because I was like, oh no.
No one's coming.
No one's coming.
It actually ended up working out because
It did.
there were some people who we really wanted to come but ended up not being able to come, and it freed up some space in the reception
For people
for
who
other
did
people
come.
who did come to come. So it really worked out.
Yeah, it did. It worked out.
I think that's one of the things people like worry about. I remember worrying about what was going to happen at the reception. Were we going to have enough room? Were people going to be upset that they didn't get to come? And it all
Right.
ended up working out really nicely, you know?
Yeah, it did.
It was a great day.
So the
Really
snow
was.
was beautiful.
You know, I still remember, you know, I actually preached at the same church this past weekend. Since I was in town, we preached, we went to Berean, which is the church we got married in. And I was just having flashbacks a little bit. I started off in the sermon kind of talking about, you know, how this is the place we got married. It looked a little different back then. But
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing actually. When I saw the church, I was like, wow, because I guess because our anniversary was coming up, I was like, man, we got
Right.
married here.
Right, exactly.
19 years ago.
That church does not have a center aisle, and April never once considered getting married anywhere else.
That's my home church.
That's her home church.
Yeah.
Where
had
she
to
grew
do
up,
it
she had to
there.
do it there. So, you know, people like surprise each other with vows, and they write their own vows, and that's what we said we were going to do. And I had a bright idea. I said, I'm just going to sing to April instead. So I did. And then when it came time for her to do her thing, she said, I have a surprise for you too. And she sang for me. I'm like, what in the world?
And I wrote this little song. It was so lame.
Yeah, April's was so much better because she wrote her song and everything. Like the whole song, the words, the lyrics, the
The words
melody.
and the lyrics.
The words
Yes,
exactly.
man. That was not.
Got Eric
that
to do a
wasn't great.
track for you. It was great. I loved it. That was amazing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay.
There wasn't
You
a
know.
dry in the house. I know that.
Yeah.
So apparently
know.
it was good.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I want to talk to you about something a little bit different.
Okay.
It was a precursor to that, and so I didn't tell April that I wanted to talk to her about this beforehand. But
Yeah, I have no idea what he's going to talk to me about right now.
so here's my question. In order for us to have gotten married, we had to first get engaged.
True.
And our engagement was a little bit weird. We actually have 2 engagement stories. And my father said something to me after the first engagement. I called my parents to tell them that we were engaged. And then my dad asked me what happened. I told him. And his response basically made me do it again. So my question really is, and I'm not going to tell you what Dad said yet, you as in audience people. If you subscribe, I'll tell you. But I'm not going to tell you what he said yet. But I want to ask April. I want to ask you, babe. If the first story was the only story,
Yeah.
would you actually be satisfied? Did the way that
good
went down?
question.
Did the
Good
way that I
question.
asked you to marry me? Was it satisfactory, or was Dad right in what he said, which was basically, that's a whack story. You got to do that again. and the premise was basically that he felt that you needed a better story, that when somebody asks you about how we got engaged, that you should be able to lists certain things that I guess would be in a normal engagement story, and you didn't
Right.
have those things.
Right.
So were you disappointed, or would you have been disappointed if right now in 2019, when somebody asked you, how'd you get married? By the way,
How'd you get engaged?
how'd you get engaged? Exactly. By the way, nobody asked you that after you get married.
No.
No one cares.
No one asked me.
You only tell that story until you get
I've
married.
never been asked that story. Maybe once.
Okay.
But I'm just saying maybe.
So then I probably would have been fine. But anyway, tell me, what do you think? Would you be disappointed?
I'm going to tell you that at the time, no, because, I was trying to get married.
Right.
I was loving, not loving you. I love you.
Right.
But, I'm in love. I'm
Right.
like, oh, yes, we're about to get married. I'm
Right.
thinking about the wedding.
Right.
And after the wedding,
Right.
I'm thinking about life and
Right.
enjoying being with you. So initially, I don't think that I would even be thinking about it. But I think the thing that would make me change is how, things really change. It was almost like in 2000, that was like the last year before everybody started doing stuff.
Good point.
Like, even like we talked about, gender reveals. You can go back and watch episodes where we, talk about gender reveal.
Right.
That came out after we had our kids.
Okay.
You know
Good
what
point.
I'm saying?
Yes.
And it was like
so we
soon
never
after.
participated in
So
gender
we didn't get to
reveals.
participate. So it's
Right.
same thing with the whole engagement thing. Like all, I'm just talking about like our friends, all these big engagements.
They have these epic engagement stories
Yeah.
that were chronicled on social
Oh my
media.
goodness.
They have pictures to go
the
with
whole
it and
social
everything.
media thing
Right.
because that wasn't going on.
That's true.
It wasn't heavy during our time.
Right. We got
And-
engaged in 99. No, we got engaged in 2000. That's true. It was 2000.
Wait.
You're right. Yeah, it was 2000.
Yeah, it was 2000.
Yeah, it was February 2000.
Yeah, it was February 2000.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, it was March.
Was it March?
It was March.
Okay.
It was March 2000.
I'll defer to you on that.
Okay.
All right.
But yes, so when I look at all of that, I feel like I would have been like, man, I really didn't. I didn't get a good engagement.
Okay. Do you
Or
remember?
you know what I mean?
Okay.
Not like that, but like,
Now,
why didn't he do anything?
Nobody
Or-
knows what happened though. Do you want to share what happened that night, or do you want me to tell
Well,
it?
we have not talked about this in years, so
we
I have
have
no
not.
idea what you think happened.
Right. You tell me what you remember happening. I'll tell you what I remember happening.
Okay. Well, let me go back though.
Okay, go ahead.
Because it's like websites and where you can go on and our story and all that kind
Right,
of stuff,
right.
and we didn't have any of that.
True.
So
That's a good point. So you're saying that basically, if it was today, if we were getting engaged in 2019, there's no way in the world that story would have been okay because what you gonna have on your our story page?
have our story.
Right.
So I'll tell you what we would have had on our story.
Right.
So we were in my bedroom,
True.
okay, at my
Right.
parents' house,
Right.
because we were about to talk to my parents. I think.
I think we already talked to them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we talked to my parents. He talked to my parents about, asking basically for my hand in marriage.
Right.
And after that, we went up to my bedroom and we talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, so let's pick a date. It wasn't really you asking me and me saying yes. You never said, "Will you marry me?"
Yes, I did. I got down on one knee.
Oh yeah, you did. You did.
So here's the problem.
You're right.
So
See, I don't even remember.
She doesn't remember. So let me tell you the way the first
I
engagement
thought it was
went.
just we doing this.
Right,
All right,
no,
then,
no. So there were a lot of things around it. It was in my opinion the moment. First of all, I did not plan to ask her to marry me that night.
That's true.
So that was not my plan because I had nothing to give her. I didn't have a ring or anything for her. Okay. The thing that happened I remember feeling this sort of emotional pull on that evening because of the way that our conversation went previously with your parents. So I had asked for April's hand in marriage, and they were more than happy to give her to me as,
Yes.
as my bride. They had no
Right.
problem with it at all. They loved the idea, but they were not crazy about my timing. They wanted me to basically wait until after April graduated and she had like a semester left of school. And I wanted us to it would have been a whole
I had
year
a whole
left.
year left.
That's true. It was a whole year,
But we
really.
weren't talking about. Oh yeah, we were talking about getting married in August.
Right. So
Yeah.
I was about to graduate. I was a year ahead of her in school, and I was about to graduate. And after I was done, I wanted us to get married. And then she
Yeah.
would have had a whole year left of school.
Yeah.
And they weren't crazy about that idea. And so we went upstairs after talking to them with this sort of, there was just a lot of emotion around it because I think what I anticipated was that it was going to be a bunch of yeses and everybody's going to be all for it and it'd be fine. Instead, it was, yes, we're so happy about the two of you getting married, but we don't love that timing. So we went back upstairs to discuss whether or not we were going to change the date and all that kind of stuff. We decided to change it. And then after that, I got down on one knee and asked her to marry me. Mm-hmm. That's a whack story. There's no ring. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and a person would have to hear all the back. You'd almost have to return a person to the moment that we felt the way we felt with all the emotion. And it's impossible to do that.
Right.
So it's not a good story.
But the emotion, if you knew, it was good.
Yes.
I was happy.
Exactly.
And I wanted to marry you. I said yes and all that stuff. So it wasn't that, for us, it was good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
But I just think later I might say, maybe I would want a different engagement story.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if I would have regretted or been like, man, I wish he had. I don't know if I would do that, but maybe a little bit.
Right.
I might have had a little bit of,
a little regret. Maybe not regret.
Because I know I always wished that you had a ring.
At that moment, you wish that first time that we just had it right then.
Yes.
You mean? Yeah. Right.
You know?
I didn't. It wasn't the plan.
And the second.
Well, that's true too. Hey, we didn't get a ring till like our 10th anniversary.
That's not true.
Was it our? Oh, it was our first.
You got me a ring.
That's
on
true.
our.
We got a ring on our honeymoon.
But it
That's
wasn't
true.
the ring that I wanted.
That's
but
true.
still.
You still
It
do
was
you
a ring.
do you really have the ring you want right now? The ring you really want, we can't afford.
Right. But I have a ring and it's
Right.
nice.
It's true.
I
agree.
It's a nice ring.
I like it too.
It's a nice little ring.
So anyway, basically I call my dad. My dad says something like, wow, congratulations. And then he says, is that all you're planning on doing? I was like, yeah, what do you mean?
Thanks, Dad.
Like, yeah, what do you mean? He said, John. He said it just like that, by the way. John, every wife deserves to have a good engagement story. He said, man, take her out, rent a limo, do something. I was like, okay. So we're in school, literally in college. I'm in Edwards Hall, and she's across the street in Carter Hall.
No, I'm at Wade.
Wade, sorry.
Not
it's
a
Wade.
freshman.
My bad, Wade Hall. And I surprised her. I called. I got a limo.
So he just called and he just said, meet me at this time, dress up. So I didn't know because we'd already been engaged. So I wasn't thinking he was going to ask, this was an engagement thing because we'd already done that.
Right.
So I come down at 7 or whatever time it was, and I had on a cute little outfit.
I love that outfit, by the way.
It was so cute. That was one of my favorites.
Mine too.
It was velvet, by the way.
It was velvet. It was like green velvet.
It was like a green velvet, but it was really cute.
It was nice.
Yeah, it was cute. And I see this limo pull up, and I'm looking around because I'm not thinking that's for me.
Right.
I don't know who that's for, and people do stuff all the time. So I'm like, just looking like, oh man, somebody got a limo. I'm looking around, and then I see John pop out of the limo. I'm like, oh my goodness. I was like, what is he doing?
So we get in the limo. We go to this place that's now closed. It was called Foe's Cafe, and it's in Huntsville, Alabama. And Foe's was a very upscale restaurant. In fact, they had things on the menu we don't even eat.
Yeah, they had like octopus
and blackened eagle.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out how isn't eagle like an endangered species? I mean, how are they not like in jail for? Right. Maybe that's why they're closed. Maybe
that is why.
Do you remember what we ate?
Fish. It was some kind of fish we ate.
Yeah,
I remember having fish.
I don't remember liking it.
But what I liked, so I always wanted this secretly.
Okay.
I wanted someone to propose in front of people.
Okay. So
I don't know why. I think it's movies. You watch movies and it's like everybody claps and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, in the restaurant, he gets down on one knee and he asks me, and there's a whole group of people from this company. They're having this business dinner there.
Right.
And they're all looking. They're like, oh, nobody clapped though. Nobody clapped. That would have been nice. But anyway.
You didn't think that was nice?
No, it was nice.
Maybe.
But I would have liked some claps.
Maybe they would have clapped if it was a nice big ring.
True. When they saw that there was no ring, they were probably like, So when I thought they said, oh, they probably were going, ooh.
Maybe. Do you remember where we sat?
Yes, I'm looking at it right now in my mind.
It was just a 2-seater looking thing right close to the fireplace.
Right.
So that was
nice. It was
nice. It was a very nice ambiance.
It was. You did good.
I remember our waiter being weird. I don't know if you remember the waiter.
I do too. Yes, I do.
It's like a weird looking guy with like a Hitler stash. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but it was nice. It was a very nice evening.
It was nice.
I remember
and we enjoyed
loving
each other. And
it was great.
And riding the limo. He went the long way back. You remember that?
That too.
That was fun.
Yeah.
So it was nice.
Yeah.
And being in college and
right.
I was a junior.
Right.
You know, my
Sure.
friends came down with me. You remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that too. But hold
They
on.
were all like, "Oh my goodness, this was so
Right.
nice."
Yeah.
You
It
know?
was a really nice night. And I think the fact that you could tell them the different things that we did if they asked afterward probably made it better than
Yeah,
it
and
would
I
have
mean,
been.
being in college, that was a big deal.
Right.
You know, now a limo going to a restaurant,
That's
I
nothing.
mean, it's cool. But I mean, for me, it's like, okay,
Right.
I'm not looking at that saying, oh man, I wish, I don't need all that.
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't need that.
Right.
My dear.
Right. I know
I
you
still
didn't.
would have said
but,
yes.
But I know you would have. But here's what I think Dad was saying, and this is the thing that I really am grateful to him for. I think his thing is when you're doing something that big, you have to do it in a way that shows that you gave it some forethought.
Right.
He was what he was basically
That's
saying
true.
was
That's
that
true.
was kind of cool that you had this sort of spur of the moment impromptu engagement pop the question situation in your girlfriend's room. But
Right.
dude, you got to make it like you actually thought it out beforehand.
Right.
Because
Right.
because later on when it's time for me to share with my friends what happened, it's going to look bad when your fiance didn't seem like he put any forethought into it. You know what I'm
But
saying?
not even that. Not even about sharing with people, but also when you look back yourself.
Of course. Yeah.
That's more important.
Right.
You look
Yeah.
back yourself and you're able to say, I'm able to look back on that.
Right.
I actually think about that pretty often.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so nice. I
Right.
think about that outfit and how
Right.
cute it was,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
us in the limo
Yeah.
being kids, because we were really just kids,
Yeah. that was
laughing
crazy.
and being silly,
right. Yeah.
So that's the fun part to think back on.
Right.
If we didn't have that, I feel like I wouldn't have had. I don't even remember the bedroom. I don't even remember you getting down when you in the bedroom. Like I
Right.
remember you. I kind of remember you asking, but more like so we gonna do this?
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost like we asked together.
The point is that
We asked me
situation.
together.
There was nothing deliberate about the situation that would remind you of what really even happened. You
Right.
can't even remember the details of
Yeah,
how I asked you
exactly.
because it didn't feel like it was planned.
But you see, we had the same story this time.
Right.
Because it was
Exactly.
that.
The second story is a real story.
Right.
That's why.
Right. So,
Yeah.
it's nice to look back on that.
It is.
19 years later.
Yeah, man.
No,
was
we're still together, babe.
closer to 20
20
years, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And we are still
True.
together.
Still together.
2 kids later.
Yep.
Kids are huge too. It's crazy. Man, I'm old. Anyway, happy anniversary, babe.
Happy anniversary. Now it's time for word of the day.
Word of the day. We got a good one
Yes.
today.
Yes,
and,
yes.
It is what, April?
The word of the day is plunger proposal.
Plunger proposal. Sounds like a shot at old Johnny Boy
Well, I
there.
thought this was a good one
I think so, too.
because a plunger proposal is a distinctively unimpressive and underplanned engagement proposal. Plunger proposal.
Yeah. I think there's certain things where no matter what, you have to do it right. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of those things.
I agree.
I think you can mess up with other stuff and it's no big deal. But when it comes to something like asking someone to marry you, you can't be doing no plunger proposals, man.
No plunger proposals, please.
It's got to be the right.
You don't
gotta
even
come
remember
correct.
them.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You can't remember the
can't even remember
details.
them.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want it to be where your fiance or wife, once you actually get married later on, is able to remember the details of what happened because you actually planned that joint out.
Yeah, man. For me to think back on that, like, I feel like I think about it often.
Right.
After 19 years, I'm still thinking about the way you actually did it.
The real one.
The real one.
The right
I
one.
mean, that
The one where I
that-
came correct.
that shows that, it's important
I
and
agree.
it's impactful.
So I'm glad you said yes, and I'm glad that I actually have a real story to tell instead of that whack one first. Thanks, Dad.
Well, I'm glad that I don't have to have the plunger proposal as my story.
That's the only one. Dad saved you. Dad was looking
Yeah,
out for you
Dad
from the
saved
very
me.
beginning of our
Yeah.
relationship. You know what I'm saying? He still has your back now.
He does, always.
Love you,
Thank
man.
you. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Just be me. Nothing that we could do. If you only do what I asked you to, I will make your dreams come true. If you only knew, if you only knew what I do for you. to the